Hey everyone, Rick here, Big Gun 81. Hope you're doing well today as always. And thank you for stopping by the channel and checking out today's video. So today we're going to be talking about the Remington 700 project that I have in the works. A little background on it. So I wanted to add a modern bolt-action rifle to my collection. Of course, the only other bolt-action I've had before this was a Mosin Nagant. I still own that rifle as well. You've probably seen the videos on it. But I want to add a modern style, bolt-action to the collection. And I wanted to kind of customize it. So when you think about like the, bolt action rifle, Remington 700 is one of those names that's on that list. So I decided to go with that for that reason. And they're also one of the most customizable rifles out there. And so as this is my first Remington 700, I'm kind of going through the process of learning about it and so forth. And kind of with the AR-15 platform, when I was just starting out with that, I wanted to, before building one myself, start out with a complete rifle already built and everything ready to go, so I can kind of learn a little about the ins and outs of it. And that's what I did with the AR-15. I bought a Colt LE6920, and then from there I started sourcing all the parts to do my own build, completely separate from that rifle. I even did play around a little bit with modifying that rifle and put everything back to stock on it because it just didn't feel right modified on that one. But that's a whole other story. So with this one, with this Remington 700, we're going to do it a little differently. Kind of, I guess the easiest way to explain it, taking the stock rifle and modifying it to the point of having all the original parts left over to put the original rifle back together in the end. That's kind of what I think the end result will end up being at some point. But for right now, we're going to kind of start with what we have and kind of work our modifications into it and go from there. And for me, my purpose for this rifle is I kind of want a jack-of-all-trades type rifle, meaning I want to be able to go hunt with it, but I also want to be able to go ahead and do some long-range type shooting, maybe even competitions one day. I don't know. I don't know if I'll do long-range competitions or not. But, I want it to be a good all-around rifle, but leaning more towards the hunting and long range type accuracy of it. So I'm going to show you the rifle, kind of tell you a little more about the stock rifle, which is right behind me on the bench, and some of the modifications we're going to be working on at this point. So this is kind of like a part one to this series, and as we kind of start making changes to it, I'm going to do some updates on it and so forth down the road. So let's go ahead and check it out. So this is the Remington 700 we chose to go with for this project. And you can see it's all in its stock form. To this point, we've only put a couple rounds through it, literally, probably about 5 maybe at most, just to kind of test the function of the rifle out. Haven't really had a chance to do much more than that with it. So let's go ahead and kind of talk about what it is. It is the 6.5 Creedmoor. That's what it's chambered in. Originally, I was looking at doing this in a 308, but I also already have a 308. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but the 6.5 Creedmoor seems to be a very popular cartridge, and I've heard a lot of good things about it, so I figured we'd give this a try. Plus, down the road, as I may have mentioned earlier, I'm not sure, kind of in the process of modifying everything on this, eventually we'll probably have all the original parts left over. So, meaning if I decide I want to go with a different caliber, I can always, get a different barrel and different receiver and whatnot to make that happen. Again, I'm still learning this platform, so there's a lot of things I don't know yet as far as modification-wise. But what I do know I want to do with this, at this point, is get rid of this really crappy stock scope. I mean, no-name scope that's on it, made in China scope basically is all it is. But it is what it is. Might be something I could throw on a rimfire rifle or something later on if I decide to, or who knows. Well, one of the first modifications we're going to go with is a muzzle brake on it. Now, this may or may not be the best idea for hunting from what I understand, but for accuracy and so forth, it is a great idea. And this one is from Control Solutions. It's a clamp-on style brake, because you may have noticed that the barrel is not threaded on this one. Now down the road, we might switch it up with a different barrel. When we do, it'll probably be a threaded barrel, and then we'll have some different options, not only for muzzle brakes or maybe even a suppressor and so on. So this one's pretty cool, but they sell these based on there's some different options as far as your barrel diameter and so on, to make sure you get the one that's closest matched for it, because that's what you need to do. so that it fits properly and it clamps down on it properly. There's a whole instruction list on their website of how to properly install this too, and maybe we'll go over that later on another video. So I want to add a brake to it. Also want to add a nice trigger. This is Elfin Tactical, their ELF 700 SC drop-in trigger. Sorry, I might have a little glare on the camera there. I'll bring it a little closer so you can see. Comes with two different trigger, I don't know if you call it trigger pads. I forget what they call it, but basically you've got a flat one, you got a flat style trigger and a curved trigger. You can swap it out, and there's a lot of different things you can kind of customize, but these are great. Elfin Tactical makes some awesome triggers. They have precision sealed roller bearings. You know, they're right around here. Also 100% drop safe, unlike the box behind me that just fell off my shelf. Anyhow, that's one of the things I've heard about the Remington 700. You know, some people have said, "Oh yeah, they have drop safe issues and this and that. Don't buy one of those." I think that's been resolved on their factory triggers, but I don't really know much about that. Either way, one of the first things I wanted to do anyhow was change out the trigger, and Elfin Tactical makes like some of the best triggers out there. Not only for this rifle, but also for like the AR-15 platform, as you may have seen in my other videos. They're based out of Arizona, and lifetime warranty. Like I mentioned, the sealed roller bearings. Don't have to worry about bushings and things wearing out on them. It's just an awesome setup. So outside of these two modifications, which I already have, which are going to be going on this rifle, some things I'd like to change out. I mentioned the crappy scope. That's got to go. Get a different rail for this receiver as well, and of course the chassis system. The box mag is something I just don't like personally, the internal mag. I want to have detachable magazines, so that's something that we'll definitely be doing, and part of that is going to be choosing a new chassis system to use for it. I've got my eye on a few different ones out there in the market, and they are pretty costly. But I haven't quite narrowed it down 100% yet to know exactly which one I'm going to be going with on it, but I do know that I want to change out the chassis for something that's kind of a little more tactical, I guess, way to put it. You know, something that definitely has the removable magazine style, which is pretty easy. I guess you could even modify this, maybe, from what I understand, to do that. And you know, there's other polymer type stocks out there, but I'm kind of leaning more towards like an aluminum style stock, something that I can use an AR style grip with, and you know, it has a different style stock, either uses an AR style stock or has its own custom, you know, like skeletonized type stock on it. It's kind of what I'm kind of looking at. But anyhow, that's about it for today. I'm not sure what our next step will be just yet. I kind of thought about doing all the modifications at one time, and I've also kind of thought about, you know, putting the trigger and the muzzle brake on it first, just to get those knocked out. And when I do those, I want to make some videos on that as well. So anyhow, just want to show you all this, and until next time, you all have fun shooting.